On the morning of the 20th, Glenn Sather showed up at the Market Square Arena in Indianapolis to watch his counterpart, Racers coach Pat Stapleton, a veteran of both the NHL and the WHA, put his team through its paces. Sather particularly had his eye out for this kid Gretzky, but since the players' names weren't engraved on the back of their practice sweaters, he wasn't sure who to look for. There was one thing Sather was sure of, however, that the skinny kid he saw circling around the ice wasn't the player he was looking for. "I thought this kid was the son of one of the players on the team," Sather says with a laugh. "He just looked like an ordinary young boy. He could have been 14 or 15. When he was told the kid was indeed the phenom he was looking for, the coach wondered to himself what the fuss was about. That night, Sather found out. The Oilers won the game 4-3, but that's not what the coach remembers best. Instead, it's that Wayne Gretzky scored 2 goals against his team, the first goals of his professional career. On the second goal, he came from behind the net. Dave Dryden was the goaltender and scored on this classic little move that fans later came to know so well. But it was the first goal that really opened Sather's eyes. Wayne went around Paul Schmier, who was one of the best defensemen in the WHA in those days, and he made him look silly. Sather returned to Edmonton convinced Gretzky was going to be a star. What he couldn't have known at the time was that star would burn brightest in Edmonton. In the end, Wayne Gretzky would play only 8 games in a Racers uniform. His last game was on October 28th, a 3-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets. Skalbania was in Indianapolis that night, watching the game with Michael Gobuty, one of the Jets' new owners. Then together they flew to Winnipeg on Gobuty's plane for a rematch between the two teams the following night. The topic of discussion? Making Wayne Gretzky a Winnipeg Jet. The day before, Skalbania invited Gretzky for lunch. By that time, the kid already knew his first experience with pro hockey wasn't turning out quite the way he'd hoped. "I'm only 17. I'm in the middle of nowhere," Wayne says of Indianapolis. It's a figurative reference relative to the hockey universe. Even in a market of 2 million people, it was evident not many of them were hockey fans, and it didn't take Wayne long to figure his coaches were not really thrilled to have him on the team. They wanted to go with their veterans, he says of Stapleton's staff. They wanted to win. They were all fighting for their own jobs. It just really wasn't a perfect marriage. Skalbania began to explain to his young star how pro hockey wasn't working in Indianapolis, but all Wayne could remember thinking was, "Wow, I'm only 17, and already I'm being traded." Then Skalbania gave him a choice. You can go to Edmonton, or you can go to Winnipeg. In an instant, Wayne was all for Winnipeg. "Oh, I was a big Jets fan," he recalls. Playing in Sault Ste. Marie the year before, he knew the Jets well, and had been thrilled by the exploits of what was probably the best line in hockey. The Jets' Hull, Hedberg, and Nielsen. Though Hull had since retired, and the 2 Swedes had moved on to play for the New York Rangers, their line's reputation for using the entire ice for their highly skilled playmaking had continued in Winnipeg. "This is the fit for me," Wayne thought. "This is my kind of hockey." It was a good thing he felt that way because Skalbania and Gobuty were already close to making a deal. In fact, by the time Gobuty's plane left for Winnipeg, the deal was done. All that was needed to put Gretzky in a Jets uniform was for Gobuty's general manager, Rudy Pillis, to give the transaction his blessing.